Good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is Tuesday, February 28th, 2023, and we are opening the Equity and Student Achievement Committee of the Whole. This evening, I'm going to just jump right into the agenda, which is short in nature, to see what we will be discussing. I believe we have some good topics, some important topics, such as the CTE catalog or course catalog and the career and technical education information. So before we go into that, I believe we have no speakers listed for this evening. Clerk Wynn, thank you for that. And prior to going into anything else, I'd like to review motion for acceptance of the minutes for the January 17th ESA Committee of the Whole.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion has passed in regards to the acceptance of the minutes. So again, jumping right into the agenda items this evening, I'm opening this up, bear with me. We're going to start with a presentation. Again, this presentation is going to be in regards to the course catalog. Extremely important for our families to understand what we have available in our school communities as they look to select the schools that they're interested in having their children attend. So I'm interested to hear more about this. We'll have Shani Keelan join us at the podium at this time.
Good evening. I come to you with the person who owned the project for course catalog with us to support me in the presentation at Dominic Picard. We started a new process in the department about project management, and so we have owners and managers of projects. And this is one that he got to own and I got to manage. So I will start off presentation. It's not going to be normal curriculum instruction, assessment, and professional learning as you see from us normally, but we have the first part of the presentation under course catalog, second part under CTE or Career Tech Ed Plan. So without further ado, thank you for having me, board commissioners. And we're missing a few folks, but whoever's online and community and parents and families and staff, welcome this evening. Just so to start off course catalog, this was a PDF hard document linked into our website. We have now made it an online version. So this is what the home page looks like. It is a website. There are tabs along the side. I'm going to let Dominic get into a little bit more detail about that in a few minutes. And letter from the superintendent. So we no longer have a hard copy of an actual physical course catalog, but online version. Once completely, thoroughly approved and vetted through systems, right, we're still working on a few tabs, and we'll talk about that later in our next steps or outcomes. We will have some hard copies printed and translated into our main 5 languages for families and students to be able to take part in digging into the process. So this course catalog, it falls into Table 9, Recommendation 20 of the academic plan, but it touches a lot of other pieces like high school, school of choice selection process, right? This will accompany parents and families and students to be able to go into the online web version of the course catalog to look at course offerings by school and overall as a district to make some decisions around where they might want to apply to go to high school and or 7th grade, right, when that place comes. So this basically talks about making the course catalog and the high school school of choice process a lot more family and student friendly. Part of that was making this online piece. Also in the Google website, families can translate to any language they choose. So if I'm a family member and I need to translate to Swahili, I can pull translate on Google Translate and translate slides. So it makes it easy for that circumstance. There are also recommendations in the graduation audit aligned to course catalog, making us list prerequisites, course credits, descriptions, and aligning all of our courses in the course catalog to our courses offered in PowerSchool. And those audit pieces were 4, 6, and 7, and I just kind of highlighted and bulleted them for you. So as we move into the timeline of the work and the scope of the work, I'm going to pass it over to Dominic. I'm going to stay here with him in support if there's any questions, but I'm going to let him dig into the timeline and the scope of the work and then move you through the process.
Good evening, commissioners. So we started doing this work in the beginning of December 2022. And kind of the first thing that we needed to do was touch base and lay out the work for one another. Initially, that was reviewing the course catalog, previous integrations. We had a handful of them, reviewing the most updated one that we had, ensuring that all of the components were in there and accurate: course number, course name, prereqs, course descriptions. And that was a monumental task in itself, which we ended up spending pretty much the month of December doing, with weekly touch bases between the team members and emails and whatnot. That did involve some outside people from teaching and learning as well, like Terry Orden's department. In the process, we also created placement guidelines for each discipline, which wasn't necessarily in the old course catalog to the extent that it is now, where you'll actually see, if I'm interested in a certain path within a discipline, this is the sequence I would take from 9 through 12. So that should be in there for every course that has that sort of sequence within it. By the end of January, we had also met with principals, and we'd shared all of the work that we'd done so that they could give us some feedback. Schools do have some specific courses that are specific to what they do, so they had the opportunity to tell us if it's something that they were actually still running, if the description needed to change a little bit, or if their sequence was a little different than we had written down, or if it functions differently than other buildings. In the end, we're continuing to take feedback, and we're going to move all of this info, which is sitting on a website right now, which is really a bunch of separate Google Docs linked, into the PowerSchool course catalog, so that when a student or a family member looks into PowerSchool, they should also be able to see exactly what the students are taking. And if you were to look into PowerSchool right now, you would likely just see a course name and a number. So this will be I'd say a pretty big advance for us technologically, so that all the info is stored in one place. A little piece to go along with that is, historically speaking, when a student takes a course, that information lives in PowerSchool, and now so will all of the existing course information that goes along with it. So we'd say like 100-mile overview from the top. This is kind of what the first page looks like when you log into the RCSD course catalog. The address, by the way, is rcsdk12.org/course catalog. So it should be pretty easy to navigate to. It's organized all on the left side on a menu bar, and I've broken it down so you can see that the first thing you'll get is a letter from the superintendent just introducing you to it. And then finally there's the parent piece, which are the next 3 tabs, which is parent portal, AP information, and New York State graduation requirements. And we're continuing to refine some of those grad requirements as new pathways and whatnot come out, just so we have the most accurate and up-to-date info for our families. And then next on that is pretty much every single department's own special tab, which will just break down the courses by department, which I'm going to show you in a minute, those placement guidelines and the course information. And at the very, very end, there's one link for the course request process. And that is so that schools can continue to request their own unique coursework if necessary. And there's a month-by-month breakdown of how that actually would work, so that everybody's following the same process, including us. So we wouldn't be making courses out of the blue either. That would all go through the same vetting process. So placement guidelines, this is just an example of what that would look like. And I'm giving you my stuff to start. You can see that it has year 1 through year 4. And also all of those courses would be hyperlinked, so that when a student or a parent is looking in there, they don't have to scroll through 20 pages to find the course that they just saw. They can click on that link and it'll bring them right to it. And once they click on that link, it will also have all that information that shows up. So for an example, the next slide, you can see what it looks like for English and what it looks like for social studies. And as we all know, we want to try to be as consistent with format as possible, so we've reworked our placement charts to look as consistent as possible, even though there's a little bit of give and take based on what each content needs. So once you click the link, you'll be brought to essentially what this slide looks like, and it's kind of a breakdown of the credits. And you'll see that it says 1.0 life science credit. That's because within different disciplines, they do get a certain type of credit within the system if a prerequisite is necessary. So environmental science, you see, does not require one, but living environment for the Regents course does require students to be either in algebra or have taken it before, and then you'll get a course description to follow. And this should be consistent for every single course offered in our course catalog for all departments. One little thing to note is in the top left corner, you see that little computer icon, and that just indicates that this course is also available virtually through the Virtual Academy Rochester. So for our outcomes, in alignment with the state monitor's recommendation, this course catalog should ensure transparency for our families. It should provide a clear process for schools to request new courses, align with concurrent updates to PowerSchool, which I pointed out will be new for us, but also ensure that both documents are the same and we're all talking the same language, should support the high school redesign process, and also, which is also new for us, allow us to update things annually in real time. This course catalog won't be brought down for updates. We can set a date when they'll be due by, we'll make them, and they'll just be there. Our next steps are to help the high school course selection process be more student and family friendly. We're going to create individual course catalogs for all of our high schools, and we'll have a tab on that page so that it can be kind of like a button. If you see a high school, click the button, it'll bring you to their course catalog. We'll continue to update the course description and language in prerequisite, and we want to make sure that that language is uplifting to our students and giving them advanced coursework. We're going to ensure that the info on the course catalog website is aligned with PowerSchool, and obviously we'll have to create a communication plan so that we can ensure that all stakeholders are aware of this new change. And that is it for me.
Okay, thank you so much, Dominic.
You're welcome.
A couple questions before you step away. You mentioned the PowerLink or PowerSchool and linking different things. Have you all done any type of test drives, if you will, to see how PowerSchool is adapting to this course catalog to work out kinks, of course, before going live?
So we haven't uploaded yet, but I've had conversations with the IT department because we know there probably will be a little customization to make that happen. It used to be you could push some buttons and then magically things appeared. But because we work with PowerSchool so closely, Nathan Diedrich's team should be able to work that kink out for us. And on the flip side, if we did this manually, we have changed probably thousands of courses to make them accurate. Yeah. It would take way too long. It's definitely worth that effort for Nathan's team to figure out how to do an upload. And we have a spreadsheet to do that.
Yeah, okay. Okay. The other question I had for you is, can you remind us when you're looking to go live with this? When is this supposed to go live?
So the course catalog as it sits now is live. It hasn't been fully publicized because we're still working on the last buttons for each school, and we will continually update. So you'll see some courses in there that have no course number. They're listed as XXXX.
Yeah, I mean live in fidelity, meaning not it's in work, but like this is done, it's comprehensive, it's functioning, fully functional. When is that going live?
Right, so we're working still with the schools to get those buttons done. As soon as those buttons are done, and we have some courses to add course numbers to because the course isn't made yet. Mm-hmm. An example is we've taken a course out and we've added a replacement course. So that course doesn't have a course number yet. Mm-hmm. The other side of that is PowerSchool per graduation audit gets 2 months to get the courses as we've given them the Excel sheet to retire this course or do this with this course or change this description. They have 2 months to complete that process in PowerSchool. Mm-hmm. So the course catalog as it sits is for the current courses offered for 23-24 for students enrolling as freshmen and on in 23-24. And in July 1, there will be another update. October 1 also is another timeline update. When we start our new high school of choice selection process, there has to be an update for courses of anything that might be new for the 24-25 school year. So there are dates that are coming. Right now we're finishing the communication plan to get it out. Still meeting with principals monthly to make sure that we have those buttons done. We don't have a final deadline, drop deadline, but I would like to make sure that everything is done and finalized by end of March or mid-April at the latest.
Okay, because I'm gonna ask one last question, because I'm gonna do 3 questions each, and I'm gonna stop with this last question, because, yeah, I would love to see a full comprehensive timeline of whatever the kinks are, whatever we're working towards, and what that ultimate timeline looks like. And we recognize that with project work, it may have to be adjusted, but having that ballpark estimate is gonna be helpful. My last question before I open up the additional questions is, so I understand, Dominic, you are doing an excellent job around the functionality of the system, and I appreciate the work that you're putting in. The other piece, I think, for you, Shani, would be about equity when we talk about standard courses that are going to be offered across the board. So it's going to be great to have that course catalog, but I think, as you probably have been spelling this out, would you say it's a correct estimate that we have seen that there's like a lack of equity among the courses offered at various schools?
So what we're trying to do is make sure that a course that could be offered at any school is made available to be offered if the staff are available and the school gets enough student interest to offer the course. An example of that might be the drama pathway that's at SOTA, might be a sole standing program at SOTA, but that doesn't mean that that couldn't be offered in another location with enough interest and enough staffing. And so what we're trying to do, along with AP courses, right, is take out some of the barriers in the language and gatekeeping of how students may be able to register or embark on those journeys and take certain courses. So we're working on that as well through the whole process, right?
So that would be a yes, that we've seen.
As we're looking at,
inequity.
there are some, and we've addressed some already. So yes, and I would say.
Yeah, so
Yes,
there's
there
something
are,
being
and-
addressed about the inequity, and that is schools have the option to request courses and see what can happen. But we would, if we were just having a yes or no conversation, the answer is yes. As we stand currently, there are inequities around the course offerings around our various schools.
Yes, and
Okay.
some schools specialize in certain, right, like so, and you'll see in the presentation for CTE, most of those courses are offered at Addison and East only right now. And so some schools specialize in certain things, and so families would have that option to say, I would like to specialize in that program, therefore I'm going to apply to that building.
Commissioner Malloy?
Thank you. First and foremost, I'm looking at this, and obviously I haven't seen the entire catalog, but this is really good. And I just want to commend you on the work that you and your team have put in on this. This is probably, it looks like it's going to be very easy to use, very family-friendly. I mean, this is better than most districts, quite frankly, from what I'm seeing here, so kudos on that. What I'm wondering is, when a family clicks on, one of these courses, is there a way for families to see, like, if you take this class, these are the credits you would need to fulfill all of these requirements? Is there a way that that's populated, that information, so they know how far along on their own educational journeys, where they're at? Does that make sense? Like,
So they'll see from, I'm going to click back really quick. From something like this, they'll see the overview by content. On the home screen, on the left tab, there's a section there for overall graduation requirements. So how many course credits you might need in science, ELA, math, social studies. And then when you go to course specific, you can see which courses are offered that you might be able to take. They also run program through Naviance, and they do like a graduation portfolio. So schools and students go through the process through Naviance in our system, which is an offshoot of Power School, where they actually go through and map out their 4-year journey of which courses they need to take. And so they have to adjust that regularly if they don't do well in a course, or if they excel in a course, or if they take an extra VAR course and they've moved along quicker than expected, they would have to adjust that with their teams.
yeah, so through Naviance, I know, like, in a lot of school districts, that's not really available to kids, like their logins, until their junior or senior years, because it's a tool that's used a lot for college admissions, et cetera, or a place to house all of that. What I'm wondering is if there's a way we can help our students see cumulatively where they stand in terms of graduation requirements, beginning with even their 8th grade year, so they know what they need to enroll in, how many more credits they need, so they can start that educational journey and whatever pathway they end up taking they have access to that?
We have been starting that journey with our cohort tracking, starting with freshmen, starting to use Naviance earlier, right?
Okay.
And getting the student interest earlier so we know. But we're starting to do that process so we have those portfolios much earlier for students, for every student.
Great. Other than that, kudos, this is beautiful work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Vice President LeBron?
Yeah, a couple of things. And I do want to thank you, Dom and Janie, for your efforts in this. And I know that this has been an ongoing conversation about course catalogs. I just had a couple of things. One, just on slide 8, it stated that above or below a certain average for the course selection. If you go to the slide, just your example, just in the middle, it says current performance and report card average below 80% or lower. It just kind of gives you, report card above or below, and then kind of the placement for the following year. I'm trying to follow along. I think that's how I'm reading it. Yep. But I just want to point out, though, that I did go through the entire course catalog. In your advanced placement, which is the third one down from the draft that you sent us, it actually states that students deserve equity and access to these opportunities, and so it's no longer a requirement that they're enrolled in an AP courses need to be at the top of their class to participate. So that was a little confusing for me, and I just want to put that out there because I don't know what the selection is, and as a parent, I'm definitely not going to know because I'm not involved in the day-to-day of this. So if you can match that language, that would be great, or give some clarification either on either side.
Thank you.
And then the other piece is you just mentioned to Commissioner Simmons' statement of when this would be live. You said it's somewhat semi-live. I would feel more comfortable if there was a statement, even at the very top when folks open it, just to say that this is an ongoing live document per se, because if it's an ongoing editing situation, which is what it sounds like because of changes and seasons and so forth, if we could just let folks know that, because I know sometimes if you saw something in the catalog or anything, and then you go back a few weeks later and it's not there anymore, you know, you start figuring what happened. But if we can just let parents know that this is the schedule up until the end of June, July 1, expect dates, or that this is a live document, I would feel more comfortable. And lastly, in the very beginning when you mentioned Power School, I just have to say, actually, I've never, ever as a parent, I've used Power School. I have to say that. I actually don't know how to access Power School. And on here you say, go contact your child's school, and they may have sent a letter. But sending letters, I do not think is the most efficient way, especially in the beginning of the school year where we're getting inundated with lots of information from the schools and waivers that we have to sign, plus information that the teacher wants. So all I'm saying is a gentle reminder to parents that Parent School exists, or Power School exists, how to log in. But also, if we can have it on our website with some instructions,
Thanks. We'll add it.
That would be great.
It's part of Parent Portal, right? And so we want all parents actually to be able to engage in Parent Portal at some level. And we know we're a long way from getting 100%, but it's a journey. So that's going to be a continual part of our communication is like, as you're doing this work and accessing, you're able to access Parent Portal, and we can help support parents do that. But thank you for the reminder.
Thank you so much for that, Vice President Brown, because that kind of goes into something we talked about during the preview meeting where we know that there's conversation and questions around communication to parents. How do they know it's here? Like, they're not necessarily watching an ESA meeting. Some folks are, but not everyone is. So how are we making sure the greater body is getting this information, that they know how to access it, navigate it, and then we can't take for granted that looking at these courses and clicking on it, that they're going to fully understand it. You know, and a school that comes to mind is Edison. I know they have what they call a parent university, where they take a cohort of parents and show them, you know, this is what your child needs to graduate, and they break that down. But not every school practices that. So how can we ensure that parents, first and foremost, know what they need, and, you know, what that communication plan is? So along with a comprehensive timeline as to what to expect as far as going live and functionality. And again, thank you, Dominic, because this is dope and has the potential to really change the game. that timeline and that communication plan on how people are going to get it, access it, and know how to navigate is going to be
Yep,
crucial.
It's coming, and we had the communication plan and next steps, so as soon as we finalize it, we'll get it to the
Yeah, I want to see a
board.
comprehensive
Yeah, you
plan.
want to see it
Awesome.
scripted
Yeah.
out, I know, so it's just not done yet. We
Yeah.
had preview on the 15th. And I think it's not only communication through our organization, but then to all of the stakeholders, right? It's students, it's parents, it's our neighborhood and community organizations that work with us on a regular basis and communicate with families on a regular basis. So everybody understands that this is here and what its purpose is, how to use it, how to navigate it. And so we took a lot of notes from the
Right.
preview. We're incorporating that into the communication plan.
Yeah, I
so
didn't think
appreciate
you would
that.
have it tonight.
Yeah.
I just want to have it communicated, like we know it needs to happen, and we should have it for you in September. We'll have it for you in October, something like that. But thank you so very much.
Commissioner Simmons? Dr.
Yes.
Jallo has her hand raised
Thank
on
you so
Zoom.
much. Dr. Giles, she's on the Zoom. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say congratulations. I think this is a huge Herculean task, and I think that administration really did a good job. It really is good to see something in the academic plan come to fruition or close to fruition. So I just really wanted to offer some congratulations in that regard. I just have one question. I understand that it's still a work in progress, but if I'm an 8th grade student or parent now, will I be able to access the quote unquote new and improved course catalog? Or do I still have to wait another year to be able to access what is planned for that course catalog?
Yeah, we can put access out now to the current 8th graders and their families. That could be one of our first steps in the communication plan, but it has not gone out publicly, besides tonight that we shared the website, and it's live on board docs, right? How to get to the actual site. So it is live. It is still in somewhat of a draft mode, but all of those things can be discussed and organized, and they would be able to get what they needed by being able to access it now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jallo. Were there any other questions? Commissioner Patterson, did you have a question?
No, just a comment. It also appears to me that you did pour a lot of time and effort, into this. So again, thank you for the great job. It's easy for me to read, and so it looks very good. Thank you.
Thank you, and I just thank the team, right? The team that worked on this, the entire teaching and learning team, put, like you say, countless hours, a lot of effort, headaches and heartache, and so I congratulate them as well publicly. It was an intense, labor-intensive, and it's not done, right? It's going to be a continual improvement, but they have done a great job so far.
Can I offer this final round of applause? Because I do want to say that you come up and you present something like this out in your hand. Again, as Shani just said, it's labor intensive, a lot of hard work, and it's like, man, and then I'm asking these questions, and it's like, does she even appreciate, does she know what we just did? And we do understand what you've done, and so I do want to offer a round of applause. I know that's little to nothing, but we really, truly appreciate the efforts that have gone into this work. We're going to keep asking the tough questions, but we do not notice that you have done this work.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we appreciate the tough questions. And next up, we have another huge feat of career and technical education. So I'm going to invite Sheldon Cox to come up and share that plan.
No, that's what it's going to be, but.
Good evening. I'll be fine. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? All right, I'm Sheldon Cox, Director of Career and Technical Education, and I'm here to share with you our CTE plan, how things are going. So I would like to start by reading our CTE vision. We empower students by providing innovative and relevant experiences leading to meaningful employment and lifelong learners who positively influence and contribute to the world. To me, when we started our process, that was a guiding principle, a guiding light in how we work in CTE. Some other things I'm going to talk about is our mission. I'm not going to read all of them. I'll just leave it on the screen for a few seconds. One that strikes out to me, that stands out for me, is our graduates are powerful citizens with great character, who champion equity and social justice. And I'm sure all of you will find one that stands out to you. So far, since last time I met with you, some new opportunities have happened for us in our department. We have a driver's education program here in the district. Now, we had that before at East High School, but now we have it available at all high schools. We are working currently, actually the first day of training for teachers to become driver's ed instructors started yesterday. And after the next about 8 weeks, they will be certified in the provisional driver's ed, so we can offer driver's ed at all high schools. And that's one example. Another thing we've had, I applied for a grant called the Bosch Grant, which gave us the opportunity to provide drone flying certification. We'll train a teacher to become a drone certified instructor who will offer drone certification. Now, we talk about equity all the time, and I want to make sure that you know that because it's offered at one school, students can come from other schools after school to learn to fly drones. So let's say we picked Monroe, for example. Just because it's happening at Monroe doesn't mean you have to be a Monroe student to attend the drone certification. We'll transport you from whatever school you're at to get you trained. Career Path to Public Safety is a process I've been working on for multiple months now, and we're so much closer to having it available in our district. And Urban Garden is another grant I applied for urban gardens in our schools. A lot of schools have gardens, and supporting that with curriculum, transportation to different gardening farms, and learn about urban gardening in our community. There are many goals in our department, and I know 7 is a lot. They're told us 7 of them, and some of them are, well, I'll just label them and say what they are, not read the whole thing. But we hopefully have students get their CDOS credentials. 100% of students, it's our goal to have students have the CDOS credential upon graduation. 54 hours of work-based learning, just learning experiences about employment and jobs and what they're looking for in their career. Offer new certified CTE programs every year until every school has at least one. Enrichment opportunities after school for students, such as drone certification and other enrichment opportunities. Spearhead more professional development for our CTE teachers, not intentionally, but sometimes our CTE teachers get left out. They end up doing stuff on their own. Establishing new business partners, that's part of the CTE program to have us, you need business partners. And informing our community about our program. That's something I'm working on as well. Just to talk about the CDOS credential, it's a program where students, when you graduate as part of the credentials for graduating, it shows that a student is career ready for whatever is next, whether it be whether it be college or a career path or military or training. It just prepares the student for that career path. Here are the different options of getting their CDOS credential. There's option 1, which the students will have a career plan. They will participate in a minimum of 54 hours of work-based learning or more. Students can then also demonstrate their achievement in the CDOS credential standards, and they have an employability profile before graduation. Option 2 is taking a technical assessment. We have a virtual Google Classroom that teaches them the skills in CDOS. So students are career ready, like we talked about, and they take a technical assessment, and once they pass the assessment, they have the CDOS credential. Our first preference is option 1. There are a few students who do option 2, but at least we have a pathway for students to get in that CDOS credential. And here are some of the benefits of having these CDOS credentials. I intend to make sure that our students that graduate are ready for whatever is next. They're career ready, they're career focused, and they have a plan for whatever is next to high school. And here are some benefits for the employer. Work-based learning is an important part of their students getting a CTE enrichment or program, and there are 3 different ways to get into career awareness, you get career exploration, and then career participation. And here are the different types of work-based learning opportunities. In fact, recently we just had a job shadow day where we had 200 students plus participate in job shadow day, going out to 70 different businesses, learning about that job. And there are also other work-based learning opportunities such as co-op, internship, GWEP, and a few others. As we talk about CTE certified programs, there are a total of 15 certified CTE programs in our district. Most of them are at Edison. There are 11 at Edison and 4 at East. And I don't know if you noticed that there's one new program there that started officially this year, which is music production at Edison. Now, to understand the process of getting a program to be a certified CTE program, there's a few things, requirements that's required for that. First, the program needs to be running for a while. Now, there are a lot of CTE programs in our district, but aren't certified CTE program. But the program, we take a long-term look at the employment projection, whether that person will get into a job after graduating. So there's lots of data that shows like, well, there's the outlook. We also look at how much they'll get paid if they work in that job at entry level or whatever they do, college or whatever next. There needs to be taught by a certified teacher. So there aren't many certified educators who are teaching in our district, for example, cosmetology, and I just used another example, right? So in order to be a cosmetology teacher, you need to be first certified in education and certified in cosmetology. And people usually choose one or the other. So it is hard, and what we're trying to do is get people who are in the industry to come back into teaching, or people who have a passion for working with kids who are willing to teach as well. They need to have work-based learning for the students. Students need to experience that job, hands-on doing that job. We also need to have a curriculum developed for the program, student program recorded employability profile, which is part of the skills needed for that job or any job. A written and performance assessment as part of the program, and dual credit. All certified programs has either dual credit or an articulation agreement, which means that when the student graduates from that school and goes to that college, they would get that credit for that college. So here's a map of what's look like for a certified program. Now think about it this way. These programs will be certified as of September 1 of that year. But the application goes in a year before, October 1st. It's due October 1st. So the program will be running for a year before it's officially certified, even more in some cases. Other schools? And there are other things we're offering, such as virtual, for example, financial management, where a student can take that class at any high school and become certified as a certified program, and they will have that CTE endorsement. We talk about facilities modernization. There are 6 schools coming up for facilities modernization. 4 high schools, sorry. Edison, Wilson, Franklin, and East. A middle school, Northeast, and an elementary school, Martin Luther King. And here are some of the concepts we're covering when we write our education plan. This is a sample of what we hope to submit to New York State. Now, each program will be different, each school will be different, so we'll have to change and adjust according to the school. And I want to talk about enrichment opportunities. So I mentioned driver's ed before. Summer enrichment, we've had last year middle school students, 7th and 8th graders, taking welding, taking urban gardening, taking culinary at Edison as a summer enrichment. We are trying to have programs that are leading towards CTE programs we offer in a district, so when a student leaves middle school and goes to high school, they have an idea what CTE program they want to be interested in. Drone soccer is a summer enrichment activity we had last summer, and it's also being run at School of the Arts. Lego Club, fire prevention presentation. We have the Rochester City Fire Department visit schools and talk about fire prevention. Rock with Your Hands, a great event that talks about manufacturing, show the kids in middle school grades about manufacturing, and Urban Garden, I mentioned before a number of times, as some of our enrichment opportunities. I also want to mention, put a plug in for Edison, is having a Women in Wrenches program happening Thursday. Exciting opportunity to teach, to show women that they can get involved in construction or manufacturing trade or automotive or in that industry. We couldn't do this without our partners, and there's a list of partners: Center for You at Rochester City, the Common Ground Health, Department of Transportation, Chamber of Commerce, just so many different partners I've worked with in the past year. And these addition what I worked when I first started this job. And there's just so many more that I can't name them all. Professional development is an extremely important piece of this, developing the teachers professionally. So we talk about social and emotional learning. We talk about esports. We had a professional development today about esports. We're teaching our, making sure our tech teachers understand project-based learning so they implement it correctly in all the schools. So students are getting quality education no matter what school they go to. You know, we all know we have some rock stars out there, and all our teachers are rock stars, right? But, you know, everyone can learn something. And I'm hoping that we all start in the same plane. And that's it.
Thank you so very much. So excited to see additional course or not course offerings, but CTE opportunities, career and technical education. So trying not to use jargon language. Coming across to our school community. So I like this outline on the slides 25 and 24, what have you, showing what you're looking to do. I do have a question regarding slide 23. We talked about having qualified certified teachers, which of course makes sense for these CTE offerings. And what would you say the communications or conversations have been around attracting the workforce for this, because this can't be executed without that. So what does that look like?
Yeah, so I've worked with a couple of things we're working on. First thing I'm working on is we're trying to launch a campaign called Teach Your Passion, trying to see, I hopefully know special ed teachers, a math teacher in the room right now. You know, if someone is really interested in, for example, carpentry, we have some people who are there out teaching currently who on the side do carpentry work or some construction work, but can be a carpentry teacher. Or if someone is into, there are a couple of teachers in our district that does cosmetology on the side. So we're hoping to convert those teachers into the CTE area. And because it's cooler, I'm just saying, it's cooler. It's cooler to teach CTE, right? So that's one thing we do. We're also looking at different industry that has people working out there, retired people, or people who are currently working in industry who's, for example, in masonry, who's just, you know what, I'm done. I've done these bricklaying enough, I'm ready to move on to something else, and we're looking for people in that area to switch over to CTE and education.
And just like Mr. Picard, putting together a course catalog, this requires vision. So you're showing vision, collective vision, working with other people, seeing what the needs are, and you're standing here presenting this, and if you were to say, this is what I really need from the board, I wish they understood this, or this is where I could really use the board to lean in to help this vision come forward for these children, what does that look like? What is that?
I assume that you would think I was asked for money, and that's not it, really and truly. It's not. I need people. I need people like work-based learning coordinators who can support this work at individual schools. They are extremely important for getting the students to work-based learning opportunities, giving them the opportunity about a different CTE plan, helping the school build a CTE program at their school, connecting the business partners. So work-based learning coordinators at schools, if I can have one at every high school, that would be absolutely fantastic. Part of the Perkins is paying for a work-based learning coordinator for Edison right now, and because of that funding, I can use it for East as well. But you know, I think it's hard to find people who are, to get enough people.
Okay, thank you for that very direct answer. I'm going to go to Commissioner Malloy because she keeps getting me, she does like this in the middle of like, I got something, so I'm going to go there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. CTE, in my opinion, is the future across the United States. I mean, we need more of this type of programming. We need to create a workforce, a skilled workforce. It makes us competitive as a nation, and I love what I'm seeing here. I'm like so emotional and giddy. This is beautiful, and the way that it's been presented and the vision has been laid out, you've aligned it with facilities modernization. I mean, it's everything that we need. It's all here, right? And this is going to be wonderful for our students. Hope we can get the staff in place. I think my question is, obviously we can't offer all of these programs at every single high school, right? In the event that a student really wants to go a certain route, are we going to try to push them towards a particular school when they're in 8th grade?
That's a good question. So there's some things that are easy to do, such as business classes or computer courses. That's easy. We can just put a bunch of computers in a room. But a class like automotive, where you need such heavy equipment, those are extremely hard. So I hope is that helping kids in middle school decide what path they're interested in, so that when they can get to the right high school, right? Because they want people to feel that experience to be like, I'm here for whatever it is. Right? I mean, and maybe it is sports as well, or maybe it is the enrichment opportunity as well at the school. But I'm hoping that I can create an environment where the students can pick the school based on their desires, you know?
Absolutely, it's great. And then I just wanted to say, I'm so glad as a district that we're going to have driver's ed offered at all of our high schools. Just, it's going to help so many families, and our students are going to be able to get their licenses and start driving and get jobs. I'm just so pleased that
I
this
just
will
want
be
to
offered.
add one more thing. The driver's ed cars are all electric. Okay, I have 2 general gas cars, but 3 of the cars, and I'm ordering some more cars, are electric cars, because I want kids to experience, you know, the future. I want kids to know that, you know, experiencing, if you want to go buy a new car, it more likely by the end of their age would be an electric car. So I'm just trying to give them that, you know, that bump ahead.
They're not Teslas, are they? No, just
They're
kidding.
not Teslas, no. Not Teslas.
No, but thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is beautiful, and I'm so excited to see where we go. This is how we become competitive as a district. This is how we stop the charter school spread. We're creating this programming right here for our students, and this is how we build our population. So thank you.
Wonderful. Commissioner Adams.
Yeah, good evening. I just want to say I smell a little bit of equity here, and I appreciate it. I'm wondering, were you listening to the students about 3 years ago when they did the walkouts? There's a lot of stuff in here, man, that they was on their list of demands, man. And so I appreciate, if you didn't listen to them, somebody was listening to them. And so the students are really going to be able, if they're watching this, they're going to embrace this, man. So I just want to say thank you.
I appreciate that. You know, let me be true, I'm a CT teacher, so this is my thing. This is, you know, I feel passionate about. And yeah, I watched the students as they talked about these things, and it's something I would love to, I'm so happy to offer them. It takes time, and I hope everyone understands that this takes time. You know, hopefully by a student who is a 8th grader now, by the time they get to their high school, they will be in a certified CT program. So let's just take a little time.
That is phenomenal. Thank you, Commissioner Adams, for your question. Commissioner Patterson.
Yes, thank you. Again, a great job with the presentation, a lot of work and effort. I've actually seen you, you know, stopping in your office and having those meetings with you. I wanted to step out of your way, though, and let you, you know, take the program where you saw it, in the place of me kind of like you thinking I might be looking over your back or something like that. So great job that you've done, you know, with, you know, what you put together here. A couple questions, or maybe the responses, you know, to some issues that you might have presently. You talked about the cosmopolitan and barbering, right? So we don't have it. I know that REOC is now partnering with Edison when it comes to welding, I think.
With automotive, Edison, REOC is partnering with Edison with the automotive program.
Yeah.
Not welding, but
Okay.
I am working with REOC and School Without Walls and offering the same opportunity for students. Students will go from School Without Walls over to REOC.
For the
to get
barbering and the
for
cosmetology.
Exactly.
All right, great, wonderful. Yep. Let's see. The CPPS, Career Pathways to Public Safety Program, you said that begins in September? It will be starting up in September?
That's our goal, to have it started up in September.
Okay, all right, great, great. And the esports curricula, I'm going to be sitting down with my colleague, and hopefully the president of esports and CEO will be speaking here on the, doing a presentation on the 28th, so we've yet to connect with one another, but her team wants to come in and do a presentation for the board. So we're thoroughly knowledgeable in the area of esports and how it connects to curricula, being English or let's say math and science. You know, so they're indicating that they can attach it to curricula and that they can help raise the level of reading, you know, within our district, let alone exam and test grades and things like that. So I'm hoping that you'll be here for that, present for that. But again, my colleague and I haven't really discussed how that's going to look yet when they come in. It's scheduled for March 28th, but it's on her committee, so.
All right, please invite me, please.
Pardon me?
I do have to show up or an invite? How's it going to work?
They're going to show up and do a presentation.
Okay.
And you were asking, someone asked, what can we do better for you to help you? What do you think about we as a district doing a better job advertising CTE and the availabilities as far as employment? Do you think we're doing a good job right now?
No.
Getting it? Okay.
So
Right.
that's something I'm really, really working on. I'm not really good with social media. I'm not really good about updating our website. I'm working really hard. In fact, I'm working on a project on implementing some more communication and better communication right now. But starting next week, we'll be better off. We'll be doing much better communicating to our parents and community.
No, I didn't mean you specifically.
Well, it's me. It's me.
But I meant like
own
us
it.
as an organization, should we be spending more dollars maybe on advertising, what we're doing here in the district right now
Absolutely.
as far as CTE?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Edison, East, P-Tech, all doing great things that we need to showcase and talk about more. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And I think as the offerings expand across schools, we'll have more opportunity to lift that. And you are doing such an excellent job, and I appreciate your open door, your willingness to sit down with each of us as we come and visit and have visited in the past to see what your vision is. I have no doubt that this is going to go forward. So definitely it's going to be a hill to climb, and but you're climbing it. You're
sure
climbing it. Okay, I do have Vice President LeBron.
Yes, thank you. A couple of things. There's a slide here, 21, it looks like, where GWEP is on there. Is that a program of the Department of Human Services?
No, General Education Work Experience Program.
So I just want to hold on, Shelton. I just want to tell you that the Work Experience Program is something that is branded as WEP and is known as affiliated with the Department of Human Services. So if I'm a parent getting social services, I'm required to go WEP in order to continue to get my benefits. And I say that because our kids also understand what WEP is and have some sensitivity around the word. And I'm always just very conscious about those things. So I just wanted to put that out there because I see the other one is also community-based work program. So I do want to talk about branding around that. I don't want to have that conversation here on the dais. Let me just put that out there. But I say that because I do a lot of work with the Department of Human Services, and WEP is one of those things that we're constantly having conversations community-wide and what it looks like. And it's sort of intended for the same thing, right, to give people who may be unemployed right now an opportunity to gain or keep current work experiences so that they're employable and can easily gain employment from having a gap. So it sounds complicated, but it is something that is embedded in anyone who receives social services. DHS gives them that requirement. And kids actually are also required to WEP, and a lot of people don't know that when they turn 18, if they're still a student in the district, they can get up to a year exemption, but if they haven't graduated after that year, then they have to WEP in order for their parents to get it. So I just don't want it to be a confusing thing if you encounter many of our students whose families are impacted by the Department of Human Services in that system. Just wanted to put that out there. The second this is an actual question though, do school administration and staff get to have a say in the selections of what's happening in their buildings and whether it's a good fit or not?
So for every school, I've met with every principal, secondary principal, and we talked about what programs we hope to have in their building. There's a bunch of slides I have with each principal where we talk about CTE programs, and we have work-based learning coordinators right now, which I want to plug in their names, Alan Robinson, Ida Mara, and Francine Martella, Donna Richardson as well, who are at schools, and each one has about 3 schools, and they meet with the principals, administration staff, and counselors there to talk about CTE programs and the teachers.
I love that. And then that's it. I did want to ask if it was going to actually take 6 years to implement all of this. I do understand that we're doing facilitations, modernization. For me, 6 years to accomplish a goal is it's just not a reasonable timeline for me to set a goal, because we should be able to implement these goals with reconfiguration all by 2024 as we're having these conversations. So I just want to put that out there. I don't think it's an acceptable timeline. And I do want to uplift that you recognize that it takes time. And I get that these are big systematic changes. And the system changes do take time. As much as I hate the fact that they take time, they do. But 6 years, what it looks like to me, and I want to acknowledge that Sheldon, you weren't in this role, you were not in this role, Dr. Cox, prior to even me joining the board. So I want to put that out there, that these weren't even conversations happening when I joined the board around CTE. So the level that we're at now is light years ahead, and I want to acknowledge that. But it's a shame on the district for me that we haven't had these conversations, and that it looks like we just started implementing a goal and a plan starting last year. I don't know when last year, just say 2022, but for the end goal to take 6 years, I don't think that that's acceptable. I just had to put that out there. And I appreciate that all of this takes a lot of hard work, and all of the people that you mentioned, all of our staff that have sat with you and given you feedback, and that you've taken that feedback and made changes and adaptations. I want to acknowledge and appreciate that, but I do want to push back on the goal timeline.
And I just want to mention, if we can, right, meet goals quicker, we will. It is mentioned in the academic plan that we have a multi-year CTE plan. So part of us laying out things to happen over years' time is part of meeting the needs of that multi-year CTE plan. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that as well.
I just want to respond, though, to this notion of Dr. Jallo's plan. And let me just say this, because these are conversations I've had with people in this community as well. We don't ever need to wait for someone else to tell us what to do. We unfortunately are in the position that we're in because there wasn't work happening, and there weren't things that we needed to do historically over time, which landed us a state monitor. But we don't need the monitor to tell us that it's a multi-year approach. She did. We also don't need her to tell us that our personal goal is going to do it over 6 years. She can have a multi-year approach in her plan, and we can say we're going to meet this in 2 to 4 years. We don't need to wait 6. So I just have to say that, because I say this to our community. We don't need to wait for someone, anyone, especially government, to tell us what to do. So I just had to say that.
Thank you. Were there any other questions before we close this evening? Did you all have any final statements that you'd like to make? Okay. And I don't see a hand. So, Dr. Cox, thank you again for your Did she call you? I'm going with that. No?
I'll call you Dr. Cox.
You about to write a dissertation?
I do not, nope.
You know, when
nope,
I came here, I was
nope,
calling everybody
absolutely
doctor,
not.
so you're Dr. Cox too. Okay, so anyhow, thank you very much for your presentation and the work that you all are doing this evening. Thank you.
Have a good day.
So I think that actually concludes this meeting, the Equity and Student Achievement Meeting of the Whole. So I'm going to motion to close this meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Patterson. And all those in favor of closing this meeting?
Aye.
All right, thank you. This meeting is, please don't forget the survey. We are going to close the meeting, complete the survey, and I'm going to turn my hands over to Commissioner LeBron.
Thank you. And just give me one quick second. I'm going to log into the special meeting. Is it live? I know, but we have to open the meeting first and to go into executive.
It's an exempt session, not
Oh.
an executive session.
That's right, it's students. So at this time, then, we're going to go into student appeals conversation, which is a closed session as we're discussing student records. And when we're done, then we'll come back, open special meeting, and we'll be voting on the resolution that has the suspension appeals at the end, but there are a number of resolutions, and I will be bundling them, so I just want to put that out there now. Did you want to go across, or, okay. So we're going to go to the small. back. This is a special meeting to vote on a few resolutions that we have. And so we have no speakers or comments listed for tonight's special meeting. And can I get a motion for resolutions 482 through 494? And these are bundled human resources.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Adams. Any questions or comments related to any of the resolutions 482 through 494?
Yes, I do have one comment.
Yes, Commissioner Adams.
It just concerns me to see.
Can you use the microphone?
I am on
Oh,
this,
okay.
to see 7 special ed folks retire. I mean, we just have to double down on recruitment. We got to double down on recruitment. And I just had to say that. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. I also just want to speak on resolution 490, let me go back, 485 on the retirement. And there are 2 people on here that I just want to personally thank for their service. I want to thank everyone for their service. And congratulations on retiring, and I wish you all luck. But I definitely want to thank Guy Hurd for all of his work and effort in this district, especially around the restorative work. And I wish that he was someone we would have better utilized with that training beyond the time that he spent doing it. So thank you, Guy, and congratulations on retirement. And then to Raquel Morales over at East, she's a paraprofessional. Just thank you for your tireless effort for years and years and years for all students that went through East, even before the ECPO. So you're a trooper, and just thank you for your service. Yes, and Commissioner Malloy?
Thank you. I just want to say congratulations to all of our retirees, but special shout out to Dee Johnson from School 34. You're amazing, and thank you for all of the work that you've done, and thank you for being so welcoming to me in your building. You're amazing, and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, Commissioner Malloy. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Are you capturing the vote? Aye. Thank you. That concludes the special meeting. Can I get a motion to close? Motion by Commissioner Patterson, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a good evening, everyone.